Hey, this is David Plotz, CEO of CityCast. I have a favor to ask before we get to today's conversation. We're doing our annual listener survey, and it would really help us out if you took it. And even if you took it last year, we'd be grateful if you took it again, because we can't use last year's data. Please go to citycast.fm/survey to take the survey. It's only 7 minutes long, we know, because we timed it. That's citycast.fm/survey. And when you take the survey, you'll also be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and CityCast swag, that great CityCast swag. citycast.fm/survey.
Oh my goodness, has there been a lot of news this week. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, I'm here with journalist Michael M.J. Lyle from the Nevada Current and my co-host David Figler. And we're talking about the end of the Culinary Union strike at Virgin Hotels, just in time for the world's biggest adult entertainment expo. Confusion over just who in Nevada is responsible for immigrant deportations, and Henderson City Council members spreading some messy rumors. And a quick note for those of you listening with kids, there is some sexual innuendo and profanity in this episode. Sorry, y'all, it's been a spicy week. It's Friday, January 24th. I'm Sarah Lohman, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Oh, David, Michael, welcome.
Hello.
Hey there, Sarah and MJ.
All right. So as usual, this has been a packed news week, you guys. It's a little bonkers. So we have our hot headline for today. Hot headline.
Ooh, bring it to me.
Feeling better, David? I know you missed me last week.
I did miss you last week. I miss you so much when you're not here because you're
Whenever
so great.
we're not in the same recording room together.
But yeah, I love when you say hot headline too. So
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. I don't know what it is.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
so
I didn't peek.
We've talked on and off over the last year about Brightline West, the high-speed train, the high-speed rail that is going to run between Las Vegas and Rancho Cucamonga, and details have emerged. Why is that funny, Michael?
Rancho Cucamonga is a funny city name.
Yeah, you're not going to LA, folks. Sorry.
You're going to Rancho Cucamonga.
And also Rancho Cucamonga.
It's
funny.
the Walla Walla, Washington of LA. So details have emerged from a new bond offering for Brightline West. In the paperwork, they have actually detailed the ticket prices. Now, the standard class ticket price from Vegas to Rancho Cucamonga is going to be $119, and upgrades apparently are going to be $133. So go for the upgrade. So round trip, you're still going to be paying in the neighborhood of $300, but one way, it's, more than a flight.
There was actually a buried lead in the story that I read. Which was, yes, the prices will be lower than initially thought by the year of stabilization. And it's not supposed to start until 2028 now. But the buried lead to me was that they have, without much fanfare, pushed the date of its operations. They were previously going to be open in time for the Summer Olympics in LA 2028. And now that's not going to happen.
Yikes.
So that was kind of a little lost thing. Also, at the very end of the story that I read, and I believe this was in the Las Vegas Review-Journal, it indicated that they still had not found the financing that they need to actually do the thing. So everything is kind of like, the bonding is a very important step, and we do learn more details, but there's still more details to be revealed.
Well, Michael, when next time you go to LA, we've bumped into each other at the airport.
We have.
Oh my God, that's so great. That's such a Vegas moment.
It truly is. We were both taking different Spirit flights to slightly different airports. Spirit has not paid us to say that, but that is how cheap we are. Anyway, I'll see you at the Spirit Terminal, MJ. You know the one, next to the Wolfgang Puck.
But this time I know to fly into Burbank. I didn't know that hack like you told me at the flight. It was too late. I was boarding.
Yeah, Burbank if I need to visit the east side, LAX if I'm going to the west side. Okay, David, we're coming to you because on Wednesday, Virgin Hotel and Casino reached a deal with the Culinary Union, ending their strike after 69 days. And that's relevant because we're in the midst of the Adult Video News Adult Entertainment Expo. This is directly relevant to us, too. We'll get into it. But, David, what happened on Wednesday?
Well, first of all, there's going to be some kids in the back of the car right now to the parents who are listening to the podcast saying, Mommy, why is 69 days
Don't
relevant to this
encourage
story?
them.
Mm-hmm.
They have the internet. They can figure it out.
Fair. All right. So there's kind of two stories in one here, and both have still some question marks. So let's get through this. As a lot of people know, and we've reported on this before, the Culinary Workers Union, Local 226, and the Bartenders Union, Local 165, were the non-gaming worker strikers at the Virgin Hotel. The Virgin Hotel was pretty much the last property that hadn't come to an agreement with the union for their workers for that 5-year contract that they go 5 year by 5 year. And boy, it really started to become protracted. There were some negative things that were being lobbied both ways. It started getting very, very intense out on the picket line. With loudspeakers, and people were canceling performances at the Virgin, but others were going. There was a lot of in one of the longest strikes in a really long time that the city has seen, and there was no indication that they were anywhere near movement towards a resolution when, in the midst, as you said, Sarah, of the Adult Entertainment Expo,
Day one, yeah. Day one in the afternoon, yeah.
They jointly announced, which is also kind of intriguing, that they had come to an agreement. No details of the agreement have really been released, and a lot of people are speculating. There was sort of some posturing from the union that they got the same deal that they've been asking for all the time, that there's no compromise, but that hasn't really been confirmed. I'd imagine there's some kind of give and take somewhere along the lines that it just comes out of nowhere. But anyway, they do have a contract now, so everything's kumbaya, and Virgin can once again accept all the people who weren't coming there because that property is struggling. That said, in the midst of all this, and this is the part that's kind of super interesting to us, there was this, what is euphemistically called the porn convention, which is, a big thing every year. They have the big award show for the porn producers and the porn performers, and is a place where a lot of porn performers get their exposure and make connections and network, etc.
It's open to the public. It's not just a trade show.
It's absolutely open to the public, so for fans as well, and there's seminars and everything. It's a really big event in that billion-dollar industry, and a lot of people are saying we aren't coming because of the strike. In fact, there is the first federally recognized union of adult performers, the Adult Performer Arts Guild, who voted to not cross the picket line. And then Pornhub had initially said that they weren't going to be doing this particular event because of the fires in LA too, and there was another event in LA. But then the Sun got them on record to say that part of the reasoning was that they wanted to honor the culinary strike. So now the question is, what's the connection between all these things?
Well, Michael, do you think that the boycotts of the Adult Entertainment Expo are the straw that broke the camel's back? Is this what forced Virgin's hand into coming to an agreement with Culinary?
I will say that in the past agreements, the Culinary has used events and highly intended events to actually help broker in deals. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, when we saw the threats of strikes against the major hotels, that was right around the time the F1 was going to be coming.
Right.
We've seen some deals break through right around the time Super Bowl. And so it would not be surprising to me, because that has been a history of using some of the bigger events that are to draw crowds and draw more people in.
Kind of wildly, that's why we've been following the story, because I was actually supposed to attend yesterday and attending with friend of the pod, Dirty Martini, burlesque performer in Dita Von Teese's show at the Voltaire. And neither of us had been before, and we were going to sort of focus on the novelties floor, as it's known. I don't know if many people know this, but the Adult Entertainment Expo used to be associated with the Consumer Electronics Show. And so it was about advancements in sexy tech. Well,
let's get real. Most tech has a sexy connection. I'm guessing that within 3 minutes of photographs being invented, there were naughty photographs.
Oh, I have absolutely seen that 1840s porn. We can discuss.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful and very expensive. But yes, every time we invent new technology, human beings do use it for porn. David, speaking as a historian, 100%.
All right, there we go.
Anyway, we didn't cross the picket line. We had a long debate, and we decided not to go. As members of the press, you can kind of be exempt, but it just didn't feel right to me. And then after we made that decision, a couple hours later, it broke that the boycott was over. The Culinary was getting a contract. So I don't have a sense of even what the floor was like on Wednesday before the end of the strike was over. And I don't know if it was just crickets in there, which definitely would have put some pressure on, right? But Jordy and I are going directly after this recording. So stay tuned. We'll be coming at you soon with our sexy picks from the floor. But I'm curious if there's going to be a major vibe shift. I wonder if it'll be more celebratory. I wonder if some people who are not too far away will show up. I'm expecting surprises. Mm-hmm. David, does this feel like the most Vegas story you've ever encountered in your Vegas life?
There are so many Vegas stories, but this is one of them. And the fact that the place is virgin, come on. Yeah, it just writes itself sometimes.
Which is funny because at one point it was at like Hard Rock, which also has like a...
I'm just going to say this. Vegas is a natural for Vegas stories. Does that make sense? I mean, it sounds very obvious, but I think there is some depth and philosophy in there. It is a very, very Vegas story. But is it the most Vegas story ever? Nah, they got some competitors.
MJ, what makes this a quintessentially Vegas story?
I don't know. You have like the sexiness of it all, and in the hotel among the slot machines. I don't know. That makes it very stereotypical Vegas, I should say.
Yep. Sex, unions, and gambling.
Rock and roll.
Sex, unions, conflict, rock and roll, all of that. Yeah.
All right, so switching gears entirely, but
Thank
another
God,
very Vegas
at this
story.
Point.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys caught this, but we have a new president as of Monday, a new old president. Trump is back, and he is trying to immediately go forth with one of his major campaign promises, which is mass deportation. And he is sort of meeting with mixed reactions from law enforcement, including right here in Nevada. So, MJ, what is going on with the state of deportation in Nevada?
Yes, it was a hectic first day of the Trump presidency. He signed a slew of executive orders, a lot of it targeting immigration actions. But yeah, he has already threatened to start mass deportation and raids in various cities, although details for that is only pure speculation of where they're going to be at. And so there's a lot of questions of what's going to be happening here and what the role of law enforcement and elected officials are going to be in contributing to the role of mass deportation. Kind of getting ahead of this a little bit, Metro did release a statement that they will not enforce immigration violations and that officers will not stop, question, detain, arrest, or place on immigration hold on individuals or groups that they suspect of being undocumented. I will, however, say that they had previously had what is known as the 287G program, which essentially is a collaboration with local jails and ICE, where they would cross-reference inmates with ICE database to see who there had any type of warrants or any type of citations. And they claimed that they ended that practice in 2019, but there's been investigations since where they were still continue to practice that and sending people convicted or actually arrested of nonviolent charges over to immigration authorities. So there's a lot of questions around what they're saying versus what they're actually going to do. And even though they're saying they're not going to, quote unquote, stop individuals. They're not going to do what Arizona has with like a no papers law. That's not going to stop them from if someone's arrested for nonviolent offenses. And that's actually going to make it a little bit even more complicated with legislation that was passed. The Lake and Riley Act actually greatly expands deportation and detainment efforts to detain and deport those who are simply arrested on charges like nonviolent offenses like theft and shoplifting. And so how this all plays into it is just a looming question over a lot of fearful people of could they be convicted falsely or could they be accused falsely of a crime, of a nonviolent offense, and find themselves greeted by immigration authorities via local detention.
Or let's say somebody came here and as a teenager and they shoplifted a small amount, and that was now 25 years ago, and they've been a perfect citizen since. Are they vulnerable? those sort of questions.
Yeah.
And I just want to confirm as well that Metro has said that they will share criminal information with ICE. They're just not going to stop anybody on immigration status. They refuse to do that. They say it's not their job. Okay. So Nevada did vote Trump into office, was one of the states that went for Trump. Nevada also has the highest percentage of undocumented migrants in our workforce of any state. 9% of our workforce is made up of undocumented immigrants. How is the presence of undocumented workers in our workforce impacting the political rhetoric we're seeing on both sides of the aisle? What do you think, MJ?
I do want to stop and just kind of clarify, not clarify, but emphasize something real quick, because I know there's going to be a lot of talk about the impact of our workforce, which is important to talk about. But to your point, there's an estimated 210,000 undocumented people that are part of families that are mixed status families too. So before we talk about workforce, let's clarify that just the threat of what's happening right now with these executive orders, a lot that we'll see legal challenges that can't ever actually be implemented, but just the threat of what's being carrying out, that is causing massive amounts of fear among people, just kind of looking over the shoulder about where can I move in the city that I've grown up, where I've contributed to, where I've had family, where I've made friends.
Where I pay taxes.
Just the mere threat of this is actually shaking the fabric of our communities, of our neighbors, of our friends, of our family members. And
we're going to see grandmothers and children deported on these laws if they're passed.
Absolutely. And even ICE, or Trump's incoming ICE director, has said that we'll just deport the entire families, even if they're legal citizens. And so right now, even before we talk about the workforce component, just ahead of mass deportations, ahead of actually these laws and policies being implemented, fear is running through our communities right now, where people have a lot of uncertainty. So I just want to set the base on that. But once we start seeing these mass deportation raids carrying out, that fear will not only intensify, but that is going to have a severe effect on our workforce. So we're talking about construction workers in amid a huge housing crisis that are going to where we're going to need labor to actually build the units that we need. So that's going to be our construction workers. That's going to be our service industry. But to be clear, that's also going to be nurses and teachers. Undocumented workers can become teachers here. Like, that's our part of our workforce too. Nurses, like people in the medical profession, we need that. We need all these jobs to make our economy run, to make our city run. And so having that part of the workforce either eliminated through deportation or eliminated through the fact that they're too scared to show up or too scared to navigate these places, that's going to have a severe impact of how our city and how our economy runs.
So our entire federal delegation voted yes on this new Immigration Act. Catherine Cortez Masto, Jackie Rosen. So despite the fact that 9% of our population is undocumented, it seems like the political rhetoric is actually supporting Trump in terms of the fact that these undocumented immigrants should be detained and deported. What's the vibes? What is the political rhetoric around this?
Well, there's a lot of mixed messages coming out of every quarter. So a little preview. We did ask Senator Jackie Rosen to come on to our podcast, and we questioned her about her support, and she gives her explanation on why she supported the Laken Riley Act. I'll leave that as a little bit of a teaser, but the mixed messaging that I'm referring to is that, no one is really explaining how this is going to operate, and I think MJ summed it up perfectly, is that, they're not going to, like Sheriff McMahill, we're not going to do Trump's bidding. We're not going to be like a de facto ICE. But they also do arrest people, and they do share information, and they have a sordid history going back to when Governor Lombardo was the sheriff of Clark County, of basically turning over all this information and supporting the ICE deportations. And so our federal delegation says, we're not in favor of mass deportation, and yet they seem to support an act that will facilitate mass deportation.
Absolutely.
How do you accord all that? The governor says, I'm not sure we're going to do this sort of thing, but now if they don't do that sort of thing, they could be in violation of federal law. And so how does that accord? Because you do have a law enforcement guy in charge of the state as the governor. He's the sheriff, So I think people are rightfully afraid because there isn't a lot of transparency. There are mixed messages coming out, and the rhetoric is amped up so high that there is no place for nuance anymore.
So, and just to close, I want to drop a few immigration facts. If, you hear this and disagree with me, please feel free to give it one Google and you can fact check me. First of all, most immigrants did not sneak across the border. They flew here. We have airplanes. And also the majority of immigrants are people who have overstayed their visas, so that they came into this country, literally documented and stayed. But more importantly, people who have immigrated to this country via any method commit crimes at a rate far lower than that of people who are born in this country. So targeting immigrants as criminals is simply untrue. And it's unfair, especially when we're talking about the people who keep Nevada running, who keep the Strip running, right? So, give it a Google. Facts are important, and I think are going to be really important, especially because they often oppose the popular rhetoric. So let's move into some really local drama. The Henderson City Council is having a messy, messy time. So this comes from reporting from 8 News Now. The Henderson mayor threatened legal action against a councilwoman following spurious rumors of an extramarital affair. So, y'all, we're just messing in people's bedrooms, and I just feel like none your business, right?
But then you bring lawyers in? I mean, just go confront the person.
This is so high school.
Oh, my God.
It's so high school. Literally based on the start of this podcast episode, I can never run for office because people are like, she said the word sex once. Okay. So on January 7th...
She made inappropriate puns in front of children in the backseat of cars.
That's what we assume. Yeah, we're big with the youth audience. Okay. So on January 7th, the law firm of Piscinelli Bice served a cease and desist to Councilwoman Carrie Cox on behalf of Mayor Michelle Romero. The purpose was to stop these alleged rumors of an extramarital affair. In response, the law firm Marquis Orbach disputed the claim. Cox was spreading rumors, citing lack of evidence and describing the cease and desist as vague and nondescript.
Oh my God.
It seems to be that this started at a meeting at the Southern Hills Republican Women, where a member of
I want to go to those juicy meetings now. That's a tea-fest.
That's the SHRW, for those of you in the know. A member of this club allegedly witnessed Cox discussing the affair. And then they had another meeting a few months later, and apparently Cox was allegedly spreading the rumors again. She wrote to the mayor, not Cox, the unnamed member, wrote to the mayor and said...
Courtney's been talking shit about you in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
That's what she wrote.
Yes, basically that. She actually wrote that the toxicity and malicious intent to destroy 2 marriages as well as bring it into our club is not only disturbing but disgusting as well, and I wish it to stop.
How do false rumors destroy marriages?
I don't know. I'm with the unnamed member at this point. This isn't the SHRW. It's apparently the STFU club. She just did not want to hear it.
And she went to her lawyers. And these are big shot lawyers who are involved in a lot of political things in our community. So
I was surprised by the name Orky Arbach appearing in the story.
Yeah, they represent Metro as well. So, and Piscinelli Bice, big time.
Pushback, though. As of women speaking to 2 cis men, this is how they get us. They basically, she's not saying you're having an extramarital affair. You know what she's saying? She's saying you're a slut. And that is how they bring us down, right? With sex shaming. Now, I don't know nobody knows what's going on except for the mayor herself.
But
I can only assume.
Who cares? Have your affairs.
Exactly. Who cares?
What does that have to do with your ability to legislate?
It's such an American thing as well, right? We've known this since Bill Clinton, although, problematic.
Also, I'm not saying that they are having an affair. I don't want to get a letter from Todd Bice.
No.
Come on.
Allegedly, we're saying that no one should care. So Henderson is the second biggest city in Nevada. Michael, is this proof that we are still a small town at heart?
I mean, Henderson has always been kind of that small town vibe. especially among some of the pettiness that happens out there. I remember when I got my career started, I was a community reporter covering Henderson, and just that pettiness has always existed. It doesn't matter how big a city gets, you'll always have that small town vibe among some of the people. I just can't believe how big this pettiness has gotten.
Yeah.
Even for Henderson.
No matter how
course.
big you get, you always love a steaming hot cup of tea. I think that is
Well, there
it,
was an
right?
affair scandal in the Las Vegas City Council just a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And it caused some changeover and somebody had to resign and it was tied into Badlands somehow. I mean, it's just like crazy. This town that I love with all my heart for all my life.
Let's talk some history. Do y'all have a favorite Southern Nevada political scandal? What is yours, David?
Mine has a Wikipedia page. It's such a good scandal.
Is it Operation G-String?
Yes! AKA Strippergate, AKA
I knew it.
Operation G-Sting, involved not one, not two, but 5 county commissioners, all who were convicted, including 12 other people who were convicted. It was basically, pay for play to develop stuff, but people like George Clooney and Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci got interviewed because there was a notorious strip club in the middle of it. And there was allegations that one of the county commissioners was trading favors for her grandson getting lap dances, and another county commissioner was having sexual relations with the strip club owner to get the Walmart on the corner or wherever the hell it was. It was crazy, and people went to prison.
Vegas, baby.
Yes.
I love that this is 20 years ago as opposed to it feels like very like Bugsy Siegel trying to build the flamingo and then getting murdered because he didn't do a good enough job, like getting hit by the mob because he didn't do a good enough job of opening a hotel. So let that be a warning to all future Vegas entrepreneurs, I guess. MJ, is Operation G-String also your faves?
I mean, it's the best name. It is the best name. So you can't really compete with that.
Oh, man. Who's going to start a line of women's wear called Operation G-String? I'm giving that to you, everybody.
Well, it was actually Operation G-Sting.
Sting,
which was the pun or the play on words, but yes.
Yeah, both. Well,
although I'd imagine, Sarah, that you have your own favorite scandals with Michelle Fiore.
I'm not, I haven't actually followed Michelle Fiore that much. I mean,
the fist fight with another city council person, that wasn't that long ago.
How long before she gets pardoned by Trump?
Oh, my God.
I mean, that's a watch, right?
We're 3 days into this administration, and honestly, I'm ready to go to bed for the next 4 years. But I won't. I'm going to stay here, right here, with David Figler and Michael MJ Lyle, bringing you the news every single Friday. Michael, David, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Another fun week.
Oh, before we wrap up today, I just want to shout out our James Beard Awards semifinalists. How exciting. For Outstanding Professional and Beverage Service, we've got Christy Norman at Delilah, and we have several semifinalists for Best Chef of the Southwest. DJ Flores of Milpa, Sarah Thompson of Casa Playa, Michael Vaknin, sorry if I messed up your name, Michael, of Double Zero Pie and Pub, Eleazar Villanova of Restaurant de Joel Rubichon. Hey, you deserve these accolades, and I love seeing the incredible food in our city get recognized. Congratulations to each and every one of you, and to all of our future James Beard Award semifinalists as well. That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Our producers this week were Sonia Cho Swanson, Layla Muhammad, Natalie Rivera, and Anthony Luciani. Our newsletter editor is Rob Katcher-Reese, and our hosts are David Figler and Sarah Lohman. Music is by OG Moose, Epidemic Sound, and all the kimonos. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nabuvi, the Southern Paiute people. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Las Vegas. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Take care. David, you're our poetic literary champion.
Oh, I'm out of it because of what I said already.
Oh. Sorry. You can't write a poem full of more innuendo.
I could, but it's going to stay in my little book until I pass, and then someone will find it like Emily Dickinson upon my death, and then maybe it'll be ready
she
for
was just putting
consumption.
cake recipes out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a
I've
sexual
got some
innuendo.
recipes for cake on this one.
Ooh.
See, anything can be an innuendo.